Please like, subscribe and hit the bell button. The Titanic Story. Learn English through movies.
On a clear and calm evening, in April 1912, the grand ocean liner, RMS Titanic, embarked on her maiden voyage from Southampton, England, destined for New York City. Among the passengers were Jack Dawson, a poor artist from Wisconsin, and Rose DeWitt Bukater, a wealthy socialite from Philadelphia. Jack and Rose first met on the upper deck of the Titanic, where Jack was sketching a portrait of a woman. Rose was immediately drawn to Jack's talent and charm, and they struck up a conversation that lasted late into the night. They found they had a lot in common, despite their different social classes, and a deep bond began to form between them. As the ship sailed across the Atlantic, Jack and Rose continued to spend time together, sneaking away from the prying eyes of Rose's overbearing fiancé, Cal Hockley. They explored the ship. They danced, laughed, and talked long into the night. But as the Titanic approached a field of icebergs, Jack's fears began to grow. He had heard rumors that the ship was unsinkable, but he knew all too well the dangers of the sea. He warned Rose to be careful and to always wear a life jacket, but she dismissed his concerns, believing that the Titanic was invincible. One night, as Jack and Rose were strolling on the upper deck, they heard a loud crash. The ship had struck an iceberg, causing a deep gash in the side of the hull. Chaos ensued as passengers and crew members rushed to launch lifeboats and evacuate the ship. As Jack and Rose made their way to the deck, they encountered Cal, who tried to prevent them from getting on a lifeboat. He had a gun and was willing to use it to ensure his own safety. Jack managed to disarm Cal and convinced Rose to get on the lifeboat, promising to join her later. Rose reluctantly agreed, tearfully embracing Jack before being lowered into the lifeboat. Jack watched as the lifeboat drifted away, holding on to the hope that he would see Rose again. But as the Titanic began to sink, Jack's worst fears were realized. The ship was taking on water faster than the crew could launch lifeboats, and chaos reigned on the upper deck. Jack fought his way through the crowds, searching for a way to escape. The ship breaks in half, causing the stern to crash down into the water. As the bow breaks off, it pulls the stern back into the air, leaving it sitting there for a minute. Jack and Rose ride it into the ocean as it fills with water and then plunges to the bottom. As Jack and Rose let go of the stern, the Titanic disappears into the darkness below them, and they both swim to the surface to find themselves in a massive mob of passengers and crew. Within minutes, Rose and Jack find a piece of paneling from the grand staircase, and he helps her onto the wooden panel, only buoyant enough for one person. Holding the edge, he assures her that she will die an old woman, warm in her bed. Despite his best efforts, Jack began to succumb to the hypothermia, and he knew his time was running out. He thought of Rose, hoping that she had survived, but resigned himself to his fate. As he slipped beneath the waves, Jack thought of the memories he had shared with Rose, of the love they had shared, and of the life he had lived. His last thoughts were of her, hoping she had found a way to survive. In the days that followed, Rose was rescued by a lifeboat and taken to New York City, where she was reunited with her family. She was filled with grief at the loss of Jack, unable to come to terms with the fact that he was gone. Years later, as an old woman, Rose would often think back to that fateful night and the man she had loved so deeply. She knew that Jack had been right, that the Titanic was not invincible, and that the tragedy could have been avoided. But despite the pain and sorrow, Rose held on to the memories of Jack, the love they had shared, and the life he had lived. She knew that he had made her life worth living and had shown her the true meaning of love. As she looked out over the ocean, Rose smiled, knowing that Jack was still with her in spirit. She knew that their love had transcended time and space, and that they would always be connected in a way that nothing could ever break.